today's How Good Is the World Today update. It's September 16th, that's a Wednesday. Got a few stories for you today, some things going on. I gotta say that though, otherwise you're not gonna watch the rest of the video, so why would you believe me? Anyways, let's start for today with a hearing that was held this morning by the U.S. Senate Armed Services Committee. They were interviewing General Lloyd Austin of U.S. CENTCOM, Central Command. They're, the central command of the American military. And they were asking about this $500 million program, which was supposed to train 5,000 or so Syrians to fight ISIS, which is, kind of one of our major military goals at the moment. And in asking about this program, they learned, according to General Lloyd Austin, we've trained maybe 4 or 5 guys. Those are his words. Maybe 4 or 5 guys, which is a little bit less than the 5,000 we're hoping for. Probably not enough to defeat ISIS, but I guess you never know. Also in the hearing, he says that neither side, he's talking about how we're not really moving along tactically as fast as we'd like to. That's the 4 or 5 instead of 5,000. But he claims the strategy overall is working. It says that neither side has made dramatic gains really, which is totally ignores the fact that Ramadi in Iraq and Palmyra in Syria have both fallen to ISIS recently, which would constitute major gains to a lot of people. And that's really the bigger problem though is these are the 2 main goals of the fight against ISIS. Number 1, training Syrians to fight them, and number 2, retaking Mosul, which depends on having Ramadi. And so we're really failing on every front in this fight. Really, no matter how you cut his testimony, it just comes off as really bad, which is especially scary because last week we heard about this sort of massive mutiny by the intelligence community, claiming that their reports have been modified and altered without their consent to paint a rosier picture for the administration than they believe is accurate. And so we've got guys, lying to cover up the truth, openly admitting that things are horrible, and it's just all around a really shitty outlook on, this fairly important war. So, bad news there. Second up, over in Greece, I want to talk about the Golden Dawn Party. You may have heard about them a while ago. They've been kind of in the news. They're this neo-Nazi party that they call themselves the only nationalist choice for Greeks. And right now they're polling at about 5.5 to 7% of the Greek electorate, which is scary when you're literally openly calling yourselves neo-Nazis. Although, to be honest, I don't know what a neo-Nazi party would get in America if we had a parliament. It would probably be, I don't even want to guess, 15, 20, whatever. Trump. Anyways, so yeah, for a while ago, about 2 years ago, they were polling at less than 1% of the electorate. And they were, routinely harassing minorities, immigrants, women politicians, gay people, all kinds of minority groups that, the Nazis tend not to be so fond of. And then someone, no one's been convicted of this yet, so it's still alleged, but someone stabbed a rapper who was anti-fascist, anti the Golden Dawn, stabbed him to death. And the government was like, well, we care about this person. So they launched this major crackdown, throw a whole bunch of Golden Dawn leaders in jail. And after that, their support jumps to about 9%. So in the last election, they got 7% of the vote, and that was with almost all of their leaders in jail for what was this great charge. I think it's the actual charge, running a criminal gang masquerading as a political organization, which is, I gotta say, pretty fucking badass. I mean, that's the kind of thing you want to be in jail for, not like, tax fraud or whatever. But anyways, 7% with everyone in jail. Now there's another election coming up. It's got this really quick campaign season of 4 weeks. It was called as kind of an emergency election. And the thing is, it's like a dead heat between Syriza, which was the party that wasn't charged. That's Alex Tsipras' party. And the New Democracy Party. They're like in this dead heat. It looks like neither's going to be able to pull off a majority, which means they're going to have to share power. And then over here is going to be the Golden Dawn as like the only opposition party in Greece, which is not what you want. You don't want neo-Nazis to be like the voice of, anti-establishment, anti-authority people. So hopefully something kind of changes. But I mean, it's Sunday, today's Wednesday, so we're like 4 days away from the election, and they're polling at 7%, which is a strong third. So hopefully, I don't know. Guess we might have some Nazis in the Greek government. Next up, let's talk fish population, which is always horribly depressing. New study from the WWF and some ocean organization I forgot to write down the name of, sorry, found that tuna and mackerel are down 74%, which is even higher than the 49% that other fish are down. This is from 1970 to 2012 is what they're talking about. So 74% of tuna and mackerel are gone. That is a vital food source and economic, money source for huge parts of the world's population. We're looking at, drought conditions in California, and global warming is ruining crop growth in America. We're looking at what could potentially be a serious crop shortage and food crisis coming up, which is only going to compound, the serious economic problems most of the world is having right now. America will probably be fine. America is still doing wonderfully, but we could be seeing some serious shit go down in the third world if we're having a food shortage to go along with, this massive economic problems. Now, I'm not whatever, but in large part, the economic problems are kind of due to having too much shit and there not being enough demand to buy all that shit. So maybe not the worst thing, but definitely not a good thing. China, Japan, South Korea are the biggest culprits here in the Pacific. They've got these massive fleets, bigger than Europe, which makes sense because they've got like twice the population, but whatever, that are largely unregulated, doing all kinds of just sort of catastrophic damage to the ocean ecosystem. So it's not even something that like we as Americans really have that much control over. We are kind of just hoping that China, Japan, South Korea come together and say, you know what, let's take on this whole overfishing problem, which is a tough nut to crack. If you look at the post, I've got this comment from a fisheries guy that was on Reddit that just sort of lays out just all the options for reducing overfishing and how politically or, practically impossible they are. So, global food shortage. What are you going to do? So, small news for the most part. We got right now, as I'm talking, the main Republican debates happening. I'm sure there'll be a lot of news out of that tomorrow. Go with the Fed news. Tomorrow's going to be a big day. Today, not too much. I'm going to leave the index at 72, just because I like 72. It's a good number, and I'm getting comfortable with it. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.